Sir, step away from the vehicle. Keep your hands where I can see them.
Officer, this is a misunderstanding. We live here. That gate opened for us.
The complainant says otherwise. You match your description. Let's not make this difficult.
Description of what?
I'm taking my family home. Check my license. It's right here.
Show him your license, honey.
See?
He doesn't have a good reason.
Place your hands on the roof of the car. Do it now.
Rachel Henderson had no idea what she just walked into. In the next 10 minutes, she acts her way into a huge lawsuit. It will cost her $1.3 million. It will force her to sell her own home to pay the damages. The intruder she was blocking was Carlos Martinez. He is a senior civil rights attorney. He has 20 years of experience winning cases just like this. While Rachel played gatekeeper, Carlos knew the law. His wife Alina was also there. She is a forensic psychiatrist. She was calmly filming everything, and the dashcam was rolling too. It captured every hateful word for the jury. Before I continue, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been stopped by someone who thought they had power over you? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Rachel Henderson had no idea who she was screaming at through her sunroof. She just saw a family she didn't recognize. She assumed they didn't belong. She was very wrong. The man in the driver's seat was Carlos Martinez. He is a senior partner at a major law firm. He fights for fair housing. The woman next to him was Alina. She is a medical doctor. Specifically, she is a forensic psychiatrist. She works in courts all the time. She knows how to handle angry people. She knows exactly how to stay calm when someone is yelling. Carlos and Alina are experts. They know how to stop a fight before it gets physical, but they also know the law. Specifically, Carlos knows the laws about blocking traffic. He knows the rules for gated communities better than anyone. They weren't strangers either. They have lived in Riverside Estates for 6 years. They pay their fees early every month. On this Tuesday evening, they were just coming home. They had groceries in the back. Their kids were in the car. They just wanted to eat dinner. They were not looking for a fight, but the fight found them anyway. It is important to remember that they were just regular people trying to live their lives. Rachel Henderson, however, had a bad reputation in Riverside Estates. She was 54 years old. She did not have a job. She spent her days watching the neighborhood. She told people she was protecting the community, but she was not on the board. She just appointed herself the watchdog. She had done this before. In the last 18 months, there were 12 reports about her. Every single report was the same. She only stopped certain people. She stopped delivery drivers. She stopped landscapers. She stopped anyone she thought looked out of place. One time she harassed a FedEx driver. She said he was speeding. He was actually parked at the curb. Another time she called the police on a gardener. The gardener was hired by the HOA to trim the hedges. She even tried to get a visiting grandmother towed because her car looked too old. The security guards knew her well. They had a nickname for her. They called her the warden when she wasn't listening. They tried to avoid her, but up until now, she had only targeted visitors. She picked on people who couldn't fight back. Today was different. Today she made a big mistake. She targeted an owner who knew his rights. It is wrong to bully people just because you think you own the street. Type "karma" in the comments if you are ready to see her lose. It was Tuesday, October 14th. It was 5:45 in the evening. This was the north gate of Riverside Estates. This is an expensive neighborhood. The gate has high security. It was rush hour. Many residents were coming home from work. The sun was starting to set. A new guard was working in the booth. There were 3 cars behind the Martinez family. Everyone just wanted to get home. And Rachel arrived. She was leaving the community, but she didn't just drive out. She stopped her SUV right in the middle lane. She blocked the entrance completely. The Martinez family pulled up. They used their remote. The gate opened normally, but they could not move forward. Rachel pulled her car forward just enough. She blocked the safety sensor. This kept the gate open, but no one could pass. She put her car in park. She turned off the engine. She rolled down her window. She waited for them to approach her. That is when everything changed. She decided to ruin her own life in that moment. If stories like this matter to you, please hit subscribe. We tell the truth about these cases every week. Rachel stared at them. "Let me see some ID," she demanded. Carlos stayed calm. "I don't need to show you ID," he said. "The gate code worked. That is proof enough." Rachel sneered. "Gate codes get stolen all the time," she said. Carlos pointed to the back seat. "My children are in the car," he said. "Please just move." Rachel looked at the car. She looked at Carlos. "You don't look like you can afford Willow Court," she said. That was the moment it changed. Alina picked up her phone. She started recording openly. "I am recording this for our safety," Alina said. Rachel laughed. "I'm calling the police," she said. "I will have you removed." Carlos nodded slowly. Please do, he said. Call them right now. Rachel got angry. She got out of her car. She stood in front of the Martinez SUV. She crossed her arms. The car behind them honked loudly. A neighbor named Mr. Henderson walked up. He was not related to Rachel. Rachel, move, he yelled. That is Carlos. He lives here. Rachel ignored him. She slammed her hand on the hood of Carlos's car. Bam! The sound was loud. The kids started crying. Carlos looked at Elena. They did not yell back. They did not get out of the car. They sat still. Rachel thought she was winning. She thought she was scary. But she didn't know the law. Slamming the hood is considered threatening behavior. It is a crime. She was digging a very deep hole. It is hard to watch someone act this way. It makes you angry. But wait, there is more to this. Rachel walked to the driver's side window. She tried to open the door. It was locked. Get out, she screamed. Get out of my neighborhood. Carlos cracked the window 1 inch. I am asking you to step away from my vehicle, he said. No, Rachel yelled. I am making a citizen's arrest. Carlos almost laughed. For what? He asked. Trespassing, she said. We are on a public road, Carlos said. You are the one breaking the law. Rachel didn't listen. She took out her phone. She started filming the kids in the back seat. This was a bad move. Elena, the doctor, spoke up. Do not film my minor children, she said firmly. Rachel just sneered. I am getting evidence, she said. So are we, Elena replied. 10 minutes passed. The line of cars was long. Finally, the security guard stepped out. He was nervous. He walked up to the cars. Rachel turned to him. Tell these people to leave, she said. The guard looked at his clipboard. He looked at the license plate. Mr. Martinez is in the directory, ma'am, the guard said. Rachel's face went red. Check again, she snapped. They are lying. Carlos spoke up then. He did not speak to Rachel. He spoke to the guard. He recited the specific HOA rule about blocking the way in. He quoted the penal code for false imprisonment. He sounded like a lawyer because he is one. The guard nodded. He is right, ma'am, the guard said. You are blocking traffic. Then the neighbors stepped in. It was a great moment. One neighbor walked up to the window. They have lived here longer than you, Rachel, he said. Another driver got out. He started filming Rachel's license plate. Rachel looked around. She saw the phones. She saw the angry neighbors. She realized something bad. They were not on her side. They were siding with Carlos. Carlos picked up his phone. He dialed 911. He spoke clearly. I am being held against my will, he said. I need an officer. Rachel heard this. She started to look worried. She tried to backtrack. I am just being safe, she said. I am protecting the neighborhood. But it was too late. Elena zoomed in on her face. The dashcam recorded her voice. The security cameras saw her car blocking the lane. The evidence was everywhere. Rachel tried to get back in her car. She wanted to leave, but she couldn't. The police were already on the way. She had called for help, but help was coming for Carlos. By now, Rachel was starting to understand. She had made a terrible calculation. She thought the community would thank her. Instead, they were recording her. She thought she was the hero, but everyone saw her as the villain. It is good to see neighbors stand up for what is right. It gives you hope. The security guard wrote down the time. He noted that Rachel refused to move for 15 minutes. This time log would become very important later. It proved that this was not a mistake. It was a choice. Rachel chose to stay there. She chose to ignore the guard. She chose to ignore the neighbors. Now she had to live with that choice. Rachel sat in her car. She locked her doors. She refused to look at anyone. The neighbors were still standing there. They were witnesses. Rachel realized she could not lie her way out of this. There were too many eyes watching her. She started to panic. She called her husband, but he didn't answer. She was all alone in the mess she made. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you have stayed calm like Carlos, or would you have gotten out of the car? 2 patrol cars arrived 5 minutes later. The lights were flashing. The officers walked up slowly. They separated everyone. One officer talked to Rachel. One officer talked to Carlos. Rachel tried to lie immediately. They tried to run me over, she claimed. The officer looked at the car. The engine was off. Ma'am, the car is in park, he said. Rachel tried again. They don't live here, she insisted. They are trespassing. The officer took Carlos's ID. He checked it against the address. It matched perfectly. He lives right here, the officer said. His address is on his license. Rachel tried one last time. I was protecting the neighborhood, she said. I have a right to check who comes in. The officer shook his head. "No, you don't," he said. "You are obstructing traffic. That is against the law. You are not the police." The officer wrote her a ticket. He ordered her to move immediately. "If you do not move, we will tow you," he said, "and we will arrest you for disorderly conduct." Rachel was furious. She screamed at the police. "You are useless," she yelled. "I pay your salary." She stormed back to her car. She finally moved. The gate opened. The Martinez family drove through. They drove home in silence. Their children were still crying in the back. It was a sad ride home. They felt unsafe in their own neighborhood. But Rachel thought it was over. She thought she had escaped with a warning. She was very wrong. Carlos was not filing a police report. He was planning something much bigger. He was drafting a civil complaint. Someone had been recording everything. The police body cameras were also on. Rachel's lies to the police were recorded too. Lying to an officer is never a good idea. It just adds to the trouble. The officers stayed at the gate. They took statements from the guard. They took statements from the neighbors. Everyone told the same story. Rachel was the aggressor. Carlos was the victim. The report was very clear. It stated that Rachel blocked the gate with no cause. This police report would be the key to the lawsuit. Rachel drove home angry. She didn't know she was driving toward financial ruin. She thought she was right, but the law said she was wrong. If you are enjoying this story and want to see justice served, hit the subscribe button. At 8 o'clock that night, Elena sent the video to the HOA board. She wanted them to know what happened. By 9 the next morning, a neighbor leaked it. It went to TikTok. By noon, the hashtag Riverside Karen was trending #1 locally. By the evening news, reporters were at the gate. They wanted to interview Rachel. By midnight, the video had 4.5 million views. The internet was angry. People found Rachel's business. She owned a boutique consulting firm. People left thousands of bad reviews. Her rating dropped to 1 star. Major civil rights activists shared the video. National news outlets picked up the story. They loved the angle. Attorney versus Karen. It was perfect. The HOA tried to save face. They released a statement. They condemned Rachel's actions. They said hate has no home here. Rachel tried to do damage control. She deleted her social media accounts, but screenshots last forever. People found her old posts. She had a history of saying bad things about minorities. It proved a pattern. It showed she was not just worried about safety. She was biased. Rachel tried to say the video was edited, but the full raw video was online. It showed everything. It showed her hate. It showed her lies. She could not hide from it. Her business partners called her. They dropped her contract. She lost clients instantly. The consequences were happening fast. It is amazing how fast the truth travels. This story was shared millions of times. Share it if you think others should see this. 3 days later, Rachel got a knock at her door. It was a process server. Carlos filed a lawsuit. He sued for defamation. He sued for harassment. He sued for housing discrimination. This is a very serious charge. The legal process started. Carlos requested the HOA records. He found the 12 other incidents. He proved she had malice. She targeted minorities on purpose. It was not about safety. It was about race. Rachel tried to fight it. She hired a lawyer, but the video evidence was too strong. Her lawyer watched the video. He told her the truth. "You will lose," he said. "If this goes to a jury, they will destroy you." He told her to settle. They did not want a public trial. A jury would hate her. The settlement number was huge. She had to pay $1.3 million. This included economic damages for Carlos's time. It included extra money as punishment for her hate. Rachel did not have that much cash. She was rich, but not that rich. She had to sell assets. She had to sell her expensive car, but that was not enough. She had to sell her house. The house in Riverside Estates. The community she tried to protect kicked her out. She had to move. She listed the house for sale. It sold quickly. The money went straight to Carlos and Elena. Rachel tried to sue the HOA. She said they should have backed her up. The judge dismissed it immediately. The judge said she acted alone. The HOA was not responsible for her hate. Carlos responded simply, "We aren't leaving," he said. "She is." The story didn't end with money. It ended with a moving truck. Rachel watched the movers take her furniture. She had to leave the gate one last time. This time, no one blocked her. They were glad to see her go. She lost her home because of her hate. It is a heavy price to pay, but she earned it, the amount that. Why paid? I'll tell you in a second. Wait until you hear what happened next. Carlos and Elena sat for an interview. It was on a local news segment. They looked tired but happy. "Our children asked us why the lady didn't want us home," Elena said. That is a conversation no parent should have. It was heartbreaking. Carlos spoke about the law. He said most people can't fight back. Most people don't know the codes. That is why bullies like Rachel win. Document everything, Carlos said. Silence protects the bully. He had a message for neighbors too. If you see something, say something, he said. The neighbors who honked helped us win. They wanted changes. They wanted stricter rules against harassment. They thanked the community members who helped. Dignity isn't negotiable, Carlos said. Neither is my address. They donated a large part of the money. They gave it to a legal fund. It helps people who are victims of housing discrimination. They turned their bad day into something good. They are true heroes. They stood tall. This happens too often. Housing discrimination complaints are up 15%. This case was different because of the video. Usually, it is one word against another, but the video changed everything. The security company fired the guard. He should have stepped in sooner. National organizations are using this case for training. We need to lower the burden of proof. It shouldn't take a lawyer to get justice. We need to do better. So let me ask you, do you think Rachel would have moved if Carlos wasn't a lawyer? Do you think the settlement was too high or not high enough? Do you know who runs your HOA? Because if we don't hold the Rachels accountable, then we're just waiting for the next angry neighbor, the next innocent family, the next bad confrontation. Comment below if you believe justice was served in this case. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these stories. We're going to keep demanding better. This isn't just about one Karen or one victim. It's about all of us. See you in the next one.